Middle East moves steadily toward a ground war as Britain copes with terrorism. An IRA attack on number 10 Downing Street.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Tonight, America at war.
Good evening. As American commanders in the Persian Gulf prepare for the next phase of the war against Iraq on the ground and at close quarters, the British tonight are on guard against a fresh wave of terrorism from another front. The IRA, the Irish Republican Army. Tonight it is claiming it carried out a mortar attack on the home of the British Prime Minister. An escalation of the battle with the British over Northern Ireland. NBC's Tom Pettit.
It was just after 10 o'clock in the morning when the mortar bombs were launched from this van. It had been parked for 8 minutes before the men inside fired, set the van on fire, and fled.
Right back, out of the way, folks, please, right back.
The target was number 10 Downing Street, where the Prime Minister was meeting with his war cabinet to discuss the Gulf War.
London is in a state of shock. Terrorists have struck at the heart of London, at the heart of the British government.
The van was parked just off Trafalgar Square, a familiar landmark for tourists, near Parliament Square and Buckingham Palace. 3 shells were fired. 2 fell to the ground and burned. But 1 shell exploded 50 feet from number 10 Downing Street. The terrorists almost wiped out the British government.
I think it is clear from the timing of the attack this morning that does suggest it was a deliberate attempt this morning both to kill the cabinet and to do damage to our democratic system of government. It failed, nor in any circumstances could it possibly have succeeded.
Foreign Minister Douglas Hurd was at the meeting when the explosion occurred.
We were sitting in the cabinet room when the windows came in. I think that's the sum of our experience.
It won't affect government business?
No, of course not. No, we continued the meeting.
Because of the Gulf War, everyone here has been on edge about possible terrorism. Now anxiety is giving way to cold fear and anger. Britain had taken extraordinary measures against potential Iraqi violence. Tanks and troops at Heathrow Airport, for example. But central London today was vulnerable. Did the IRA exploit police obsession with possible Iraqi terrorism? Terrorism specialist Ron Payne.
They were thinking, there are the Brits. They're all worrying about Saddam Hussein and things going on halfway across the world. Good chance for us to strike.
Londoners hurried to safety, as they did during World War II. But there is no shelter from terrorism. Tom Pettit, NBC News, London.
And in Turkey today, an American civilian, a retired serviceman, was assassinated at an airbase used for American bombing raids on Iraqi targets. A left-wing terrorist group claimed responsibility, claiming that he was a CIA agent. While the war of terrorism heated up, so did the talk of a coming ground war with Iraqi forces. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney and General Colin Powell left this evening for Saudi Arabia to be briefed on all of this. NBC's Arthur Kent is in Saudi Arabia tonight, where publicly, at least, the ground war still is in the discussion stage. Arthur?
Tom, it is a life-and-death question on a massive scale. When to throw U.S. and allied ground forces at Iraqi positions in Kuwait and expose them to total war.
The question of timing was on General Norman Schwarzkopf's mind as he visited frontline positions today.
Good luck to you.
But aside from his repeated promises not to risk lives on the ground until the air campaign has caused maximum damage to Iraqi forces, so far, the general has given no clues on the start of a land offensive. And while Allied firepower is focusing more and more on Iraqi command posts and artillery in Kuwait, there were mixed signals today on the likelihood of a ground offensive.
I don't think I would attach inevitable to it. I think we have a campaign plan that we're sticking to. It's going well. It's going better than anticipated, and I'd probably leave it at that.
Well, I'm expressing a personal opinion now, and I believe the land war is inevitable, yes.
Britain's de la Billière says air power alone will not defeat Saddam Hussein.
There is no indication at the moment that the Iraqi army is going to crack in the immediate future.
Meantime, Allied pilots continue to chip away at Iraqi forces, preparing the ground for a land offensive. Today, Bob Swain and his A-10 shot down an enemy helicopter.
It was just the right place at the right time for the A-10. Unfortunately, it was the wrong place and the wrong time for the helicopter.
It's that kind of killing advantage that General Schwarzkopf and his commanders want to achieve on the ground as well. And that means taking the Iraqis by surprise, not signaling the start of a land offensive until the last possible moment. Tom?
Thank you, Arthur. Obviously, the decision on if and when to go to a ground war has enormous political as well as military consequences. French President Mitterrand said today that it will begin this month. But NBC's Fred Francis at the Pentagon says tonight, no decision yet. Fred, what's the latest there?
Well, that's right, Tom. Senior officials say there will be no ground war in the next 10 days, and that the opinion of senior commanders in Saudi Arabia will be key to any decision later in the month.
First, not all U.S. forces are ready. U.S. Marines will again rehearse an amphibious landing in the next few days on the shores of the United Arab Emirates in the Persian Gulf. Cheney and Powell, who appeared before Congress today, rejected pleas to avoid land warfare.
Every single feeling that I have in my body is frightening, ominous, and foreboding that to go forward with escalation may very well mean a cost in human terms that staggered the imagination.
The war can end tomorrow if Saddam Hussein will get out of Kuwait.
In fact, sources close to Cheney and Powell say the two need the briefings in Saudi Arabia. First, the hard numbers. How many Iraqi tanks killed? What do the classified bomb damage videos really mean? How much food, fuel, and ammunition is left to entrenched Iraqi forces? Second, the latest analysis of intelligence from occupied Kuwait. Information from Iraqi POWs and what is going on behind Iraqi lines. While U.S. soldiers speak on coded radio channels, most Iraqi communication is intercepted. They'll learn what is being said. Third and most important, the gut feelings of ground commanders. What do they think about their assigned objectives, their enemy? Are U.S. troops sharp? Do they need several more weeks to prepare? Meanwhile, the air war continues with a dramatic new development. F-15s, which once flew combat air patrols just in southern Iraq, are now flying near the Iranian border to shoot down fleeing Iraqi jets.
Today, those F-15s shot down 3 Iraqi warplanes. Yesterday, they shot down 4. Tom?
Thank you, Fred Francis at the Pentagon tonight. And when Nightly News continues in a moment, civilian casualties in Iraq.
That was me, Tommy Lasorda, before I lost 30 pounds in 3 months on the Ultra Slim Fast plan. Now it's even easier to have my shake because Ultra Slim Fast comes ready to drink in new cans. Losing weight has never been so convenient. Wherever I am, I can have my shake. Ah, icy cold and delicious. Who says you can't take it with you?
Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week. We'll take off the weight.
You know, that sign wasn't up there for more than a couple, 3 days. And bingo.
I've never seen a house move so fast. I've never seen a real estate outfit move so fast.
We're prepared to get the results you're looking for. The Prudential, you know us, we know real estate.
Honey, we've got to talk about the 4 juice glasses.
I know, hon, because Sunsweet Prune Juice has more of 7 important vitamins and minerals than these other juices.
Oh, that's my point, Dave.
No, honey. Your point is Sunsweet tastes great.
Thank you.
U.S. military sources are saying tonight that some Iraqi anti-aircraft guns have been moved to civilian rooftops to escape bombardment. The allies say only military sites are being targeted, but nevertheless, Iraq claims that civilian damage and death has been extensive. NBC's Tom Aspel is in Amman, Jordan tonight with more on this.
Amateur videotape shot recently in the southern Iraqi province of Thikar. U.S. officials deny that residential areas are being targeted in the round-the-clock bombing of Iraq, but admit that civilian casualties are inevitable as Allied aircraft attack Iraq's military and industrial sites.
We go to great lengths to avoid collateral damage. But that war is a dirty business, and unfortunately there will be collateral damage. There's no way we can prohibit it.
The Iraqis claim the collateral damage since the bombing began amounts to more than 1,000 dead and many more wounded. This man says his house in Baghdad was destroyed in a night air raid. He blames President Bush. This boy says the shrapnel pieces he is holding are from George Bush, he says from the wicked Bush, and then invokes God's protection on Saddam Hussein. According to American and Allied officials, the Iraqis have military installations in civilian areas. To bomb or not to bomb?
It's a target-rich environment, and there's plenty of other targets that we can attack, and we'll just have to address that on a day-by-day basis.
It's already been going on for 22 days. Non-stop bombing by nearly 2,000 airplanes the United States and its allies have assigned to this phase of the war. The U.S. says the Iraqis are exaggerating civilian casualty figures, even locating anti-aircraft weapons in residential areas. The real truth probably won't be known until the war is over. Tom Aspel, NBC News, Amman.
In Israel today, a member of the parliament called for vengeance against Germans who helped build Saddam Hussein's war machine and said their name should be made public. One such company was named this week, but as NBC's Don Oliver reports now, it has sold its wares to both sides in the Gulf War.
One of Germany's largest companies, Thyssen, makes a very specialized armored vehicle which is equipped to detect the presence of poison gas and biological or nuclear agents. Allied troops have the vehicles at the ready in Saudi Arabia, and others are to be shipped to Israel as part of Germany's contribution to Israel's defense. But Thyssen admitted today it was also involved in something else, the construction of Project Diala, the largest laboratory in Iraq for the testing of chemical and biological weapons. Thyssen denies it knew the purpose of the complex at Salman Pak near Baghdad, but also admits that in order to do business in Iraq, the company had to sign a pledge agreeing to boycott Israel economically and to have no relations with Israel, and not to give advice or expertise to Israeli companies. A spokesman for Thyssen said all German companies doing business in the Arab world made the same pledge, but paid no attention to it. In most Western countries, such a pledge is illegal. 15 years ago, the U.S. Congress passed a law forbidding American companies from signing such an agreement. Congressman Stephen Solars, who wrote the law, wonders why Germany didn't do the same.
Alas, it appears as if their greed is such that they have become utterly indifferent and insensitive to the lessons of their own history.
Under international pressure, the German government announced yesterday it wants stronger penalties for companies illegally exporting war materials. Israeli officials welcome the move.
I think for Israel, this whole episode with German companies supplying poison gas to a mad dictator, a latter-day Hitler, to be used against Jews evoke horrific pictures of the past.
Those who believe Germany has acted as a merchant of death, and that includes many Germans, say they won't be satisfied until the businessmen and officials responsible are punished. Don Oliver, NBC News, Frankfurt.
Well, Nightly News continues in a moment. Guns and drugs, and a woman's right to bear arms.
Gene Siskel calls Once Around the first really good film of 1991.
First aid!
Who's the guy?
No.
My new boyfriend.
No, come on, who's he really?
Newsweek says it's refreshing and funny.
Yes!
The most memorable movie family since Moonstruck raves sneak previews.
No! Yes!
Richard Dreyfuss, Holly Hunter, Danny Aiello, Laura San Giacomo, and Jenna Rollins. Once Around, rated R. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
A cold always starts small. A stuffy nose, a little sneeze. But before you know it, your cold is full grown. That's when you need Dimetap, the grown-up medicine. If it was any stronger, you'd need a prescription. Maximum strength Dimetap Extend tabs work for 12 full hours. It's the way to relieve the congestion and sneezing of a full-grown cold. Dimetap, relief for the full-grown cold.
Some things are more important to your peace of mind than you realize, like knowing how to maintain regularity without drugs or medication. But do you know nutrition experts recommend increasing your dietary fiber intake as a drug-free way to promote regularity? And did you know that All Bran, as part of a balanced diet, is a very high source of dietary fiber? A high-fiber diet, including Kellogg's All Bran. It can be a drug-free way to maintain regularity.
Did you know there are two types of bills? The kind everybody loves to get and the kind everybody hates to get. Now, if your small business is using another long-distance company, send us your last bill, switch to AT&T Pro Watts, and you'll save up to 1,000 of these bills. What's more, with Pro Watts, you'll be getting AT&T quality at an extremely competitive price. So call now, because you can never have too many bills. I mean these bills, not these bills. Up to $1,000 savings. Another AT&T advantage.
Tonight on Guns and Drugs, one woman's personal crusade against crime. Of this country's 70 million gun owners, 12 million are women. And they're finding a guru and a California gun advocate named Paxton Quigley. As NBC's Margaret Larson tells us tonight, her message is being heard.
And shoot! Especially if a woman lives alone. Shoot! It would be smart for her to learn how to shoot a gun and to have a gun at home.
Armed with that philosophy, former anti-gun lobbyist Paxton Quigley now travels the country teaching women like this group in Southern California to shoot.
Does she shoot?
Yes,
At a New York City gun shop, she signs copies of her rapid-selling how-to book, Armed and Female. Her message is finding a growing audience in small-town America, too. Places like Amarillo, Texas, where more and more women are frightened, living alone, single heads of household, or victims of crime.
That new breed is not just a woman who wants to learn self-defense, but a woman that also wants to learn how to shoot a gun. You're gonna have to shoot up. Shoot. Shoot.
In fact, gun ownership by American women has doubled in the last 10 years. As many as 1 in 8 women now owns a gun, and the market for seminars like Paxton's is booming.
It is easier to shoot a bigger gun.
The women pay $135 for the day-long program. Many of them have never touched a gun before.
See, this is the front sight, and you literally...
Then, for the next 5 hours, they focus on safety, practice, overcoming fears. The students are professional women, young mothers, and retirees, and in some cases, rape victims who have made a decision.
I decided that I never wanted to be a victim again.
And I do believe that if more and more women learned how to shoot guns and the word got out, there would be less rape in the United States within the next 5 years.
It was the rape of a friend 4 years ago that turned Paxton Quigley into a gun advocate. She believes if her friend had had a gun in her home, she could have prevented the assault.
Just go down a little bit.
And so the former actress and writer made a book deal and found a calling.
There is an old saying that an armed society is a polite society.
Yes. That point of view is earning Quigley some enemies.
Should women own handguns as a means of self-protection in the home? We're talking about...
She's a veteran of 125 radio and TV guest spots, often debating gun control experts who say handguns are many times more likely to be used in murder, suicide, or accidental death than in repelling an attacker.
Where is this gun that it's going to be so helpful to you? Are you going to keep it in your hand when you open the door and the pizza man's there?
Well, I'll tell you,
Quigley, who's now a part-time spokesperson for Smith & Wesson, counters a gun should only be used as a last resort.
Do you think you'd have any problem shooting someone who broke into your house? No. Threatened you? No. No doubt in your mind? No doubt at all in my mind.
Whether it's a dangerous view or a reasonable response to the times, Paxton Quigley is giving a voice to women's fears in the 90s. Margaret Larson, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Tomorrow on Friday Follow-Up, the remarkable comeback of Bernard King from a shattering knee injury to an NBA All-Star.
Bill, you're not even dressed. Put your tie on. Here. What's the matter? Oh, a bad headache. Here. The doctor told me about this. Motrin IB. Same medicine as in prescription Motrin in non-prescription strength. One works as well as 2 regular Tylenol. You know, honey, we're going to have a great time tonight.
Motrin IB, recommended by thousands of doctors.
And your wife.
Stouffer's invites you to eat like you really like to eat. Introducing 8 of your all-time home-style favorites, like tender Salisbury steak with our original macaroni and cheese, sliced turkey breast in gravy with homemade stuffing. And to tempt you even more, they're all under 370 calories. So dig in. They're new from Stouffer's.
Looking for a great place to take your family on vacation? Start right here. There's lots of water sports by the seaside. Lots of activities for kids. There's even a supervised children's program. And for those who think a family vacation should include seeing some faraway places, there's no better place to see them than from right here. Take a 3, 4, or 7-day fun ship vacation on Carnival. the most popular cruise line in the world.
I remember when I was a young man, my father telling me about the Acoma Indians. Their culture and history were one of America's greatest glories. Well, now I got the time to see it for myself. Of course, affording it's another matter. I wasn't sure I could make it, but AARP helped with discounts on hotels, motels, even the car I rented. So here I am. And you know what? My father was right.
AARP, making a difference.
Interviews with survivors of that Los Angeles runway collision last Friday paint a picture of confusion, feuding, and frustration immediately after the crash. Federal officials say if more of the exits in the USA airline jetliner had been open, some of the 34 people who died may have survived. NBC's Robert Hager.
Investigators now believe almost all those killed on the U.S. airplane died in a chaotic scramble for the exits, including one fight. Government tests using dummies have indicated that if passengers survive a crash, they have only about a minute and a half to escape through building flames and smoke. The government stages drills to make sure planes are designed so people can get out quickly. But real life's different. And even though Flight 1493 had 6 exits, one was jammed shut, another blocked by fire, and a third partially blocked by 2 men who ran over a woman and were scuffling with each other to get out first. That left a front door where 3 did escape, a rear door where many others exited, and the wings where at least some made it out. But 22 died, mostly huddled in the aisles. Passengers told of the confusion.
And there were people around me who were screaming, and everybody was trying to get to the exit, of course.
The smoke got really thick, and all of a sudden people started pushing for the exits, and there was no good way to get out.
The National Transportation Safety Board's Jim Burnett.
A couple of men trampled over a lady and then had an altercation about who was going to go out the exit first.
Further, this plane had not been outfitted with fire-retarding materials on its walls and ceilings, as required in all new planes. Investigators said that might have given passengers another full minute to escape. One who did survive, Ronald Givens, was reunited with family in Columbus, Ohio today.
You made it home.
Givens took a bus back from Los Angeles. He says he'll never fly again. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
Time now for commentary from John Chancellor tonight, taking a look at what lies ahead possibly for President Bush. John?
Suppose at some time in this war, Saddam Hussein were to say, Iraq will pull out of Kuwait if an international conference on the Middle East is convened, a conference that would include the Palestinian problem. The United States would have to say no. American policy rejects any linkage of Iraqi withdrawal to a conference that would only reward Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. This argument, however, could be hard to sustain if American forces were taking heavy casualties. People would ask if Americans were dying because of a conference. Would the avoidance of a conference be enough to justify the deaths of American troops? If the only thing that continued the war was American opposition to people sitting around a table talking about the future of the Middle East, would the Allies go on fighting and dying? Probably not. Too bad. If the United States had said from the beginning that there would be a conference, perhaps in the UN Security Council, Saddam Hussein would not be able to exploit the Palestinian issue. As it is, he can play the demagogue and look like a hero to the Arab world. In the end, there will be a conference anyway, because everybody except Israel wants one. The UN, the Allies, even President Bush, who says a conference would be acceptable at an appropriate time. But as things stand now, if Saddam Hussein ties withdrawal from Iraq to an international conference, and if the Allies and the United Nations say there should be a conference, it could give Saddam a political victory in the middle of his military defeat. Tom?
Thank you, John. And when Nightly News continues in a moment, businesses grounded by the war find a way to get the job done.
Take a look around me at a place like none on land. Sail away now, you'll find me. The world's in my command.
Of all the resorts in the world, one takes you to the great places of the world. Royal Caribbean, the grand resorts of the 7 seas. Isn't it time you discovered them?
Having Cody was a beautiful experience, but the extra weight I gained made me feel a lot less than beautiful. Then I tried the Ultra Slim Fast plan. It's nutritious, easy, and best of all, it works. I lost those last 10 hard-to-lose pounds in only a month, with a delicious shake for breakfast, another for lunch, and then a sensible dinner. You know, thanks to Ultra Slim Fast, that extra weight is just where it should be.
Off.
Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week, we'll take off the weight.
During the course of one 60-minute workout, a body can be depleted of vitamins B6 and C, carbohydrates, and valuable potassium, all of which, it so happens, can be replaced by eating one Chiquita banana. So whatever you put out, put back. Chiquita, quite possibly the world's perfect food.
When you're all stuffed up and use an ordinary nasal spray, it drips into your tissue where it can't help you breathe. But not Sinex Ultrafine Mist. Its medicine stays where you need it, so you can breathe the way you want to. We don't drip down, we clear up.
Hi, what'd you bring back?
Diarrhea.
Of course, you forgot your kaopectate.
Advanced formula kaopectate. Just one dose helps relieve diarrhea fast.
Next time, I won't forget the kaopectate.
Guaranteed to stop diarrhea fast.
On the home front tonight, how the war in the Middle East and the threat of terrorism is changing the way business is done in this country and around the world. NBC's Roger O'Neill on the boom times for phone work.
Bob Hurley and Cub Shackelford were supposed to be in Belgium today, but their company, Baxter International, has forbidden almost all travel worldwide because of the war in the Gulf.
Andy? Andy, we got some excitement in the UK, huh?
Their meeting with Baxter officials in 3 other countries took place, but on a telephone conference call.
A lot of sort of Gulf anxiety in the country.
There are other ways to communicate that until the situation settles out, that it's just not worth it for any employee's life to be negatively or potentially impacted by travel.
Memos from corporate headquarters have grounded thousands of executives around the world.
At the moment, we have a complete travel embargo unless it's business critical.
While businessmen would prefer to press the flesh, as they like to call it, to close a deal, they have been forced to turn to two-way television or video conferencing as the only way to at least see the other guy.
Their international travel was completely stopped.
Teleconference centers like this one in Denver were on a fast track even before the Gulf War started. Businessmen who have tried it say it is often cheaper than traveling, and more important, it saves time. Now add a third ingredient, fear, and business has just exploded.
The impact of the Gulf War has been absolutely tremendous. I think most of the video conferencing facilities have increased at least by 75%.
U.S. Sprint's meeting channel is now handling as many as 100 conferences a day from 29 countries.
We saw in January about a 30% increase on our domestic traffic, on our domestic network, but on our international network about 5 times, 500% rate it's increased.
One video conference company which sells a new version of the old picture phone, something which didn't work in the 1960s but does now, reports it did more business last month than all last year. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Chicago.
That's Nightly News up to the minute. This special edition will continue in a moment.